So today we have three speakers. We have Amira from Shine Invest. We have Robin from IEEE. They're going to introduce themselves a little later. We were also supposed to be joined by Ajaita from Frontier Markets, but she is based in Jaipur, and today there's really bad weather over there, and there are floods, so they're having a power outage. So unfortunately, she's not gonna be able to join us for today's webinar. So I think I'm gonna let Sajid also introduce himself, and I guess then we can start.
Hello everyone, I hope everyone can hear me. So first I'm gonna go ahead and post this link on the chat so you can sign up because we have a lot of participants today. So therefore we won't be going into individual introductions of the audience. So I have posted a document, a Google document in the chat. So you can go ahead and put your information. Can everyone see that? If you can see the sign up sheet, you can type a plus sign. All right. Thank you, everyone. So please do go ahead and put your information. And with that, we will go ahead and start the webinar today. So first of all, those who are new to the YOUNGO space and the youth constituency, I will give you a brief overview of YOUNGO and our engagement in the SDG 7 work. So YOUNGO is the mandated space which is self-assembled by youth, and YOUNGO is the formal space, youth space provided by UNFCCC. And in terms of SDG 7, the SDG 7 became a standalone sustainable development goal in 2015 when the sustainable development goals came into being. And this is the first time that energy is and the energy transition process is considered as a individual sustainable development goal. So the first global review of the Sustainable Development Goal 7 happened last year in 2018. So we conducted the youth review of the SDG 7 alongside International Renewable Energy Agency during the course of Youth Forum last year. And since then, we have organized youth participation in series of SDG 7 related events, such as the expert group meeting of SDG 7, which took place in Bangkok last year, and then to the global review of SDG 7 at the high level political forum. And continuing the conversation from there, we have come to this year where we organized youth participation at the high level dialogue for the Sustainable Energy for All decade, which happened in May this year. And from there onwards, we came into the Sustainable Energy for All Charrettes, which took place in Amsterdam, Netherlands last month. So therefore, we always had keen interest in the dialogue that is leading up to and contributing to the energy transition, as well as the realization of the Sustainable Development Goal 7. So with that, I will hand over to Karishma to introduce what happened during the SDG Sustainable Energy for All Charrettes, and then go forward with our webinar today.
Thanks, Sajid. Okay, so the SEforAll Charrettes is organized, yes, by SEforAll, and the one for this year happened last month in Amsterdam. So there were about 100 participants divided over 4 groups, and the idea was that over 2 days, everyone would brainstorm using design thinking as a process to tackle one aspect of progress on the SDG 7. So there were 4 topics in total with about 25 to 30 participants in each group. So we had data and evidence which really looked at how to improve data for people who don't have access to electricity and how you can actually use that. Then we had bridging the gap, which really looked at how to bridge the gap between the supply of finance and between the supply of finance and the demand. Then we also had clean cooking, which really looked at this the sector overall and how to tackle the challenges. And lastly, we had last mile electricity access, which is the part of the group YOUNGO was, which is basically YOUNGO was a part of that. And this mostly looked at the challenges in the finance sector. So our participation in that at the SEforAll Charrettes has led to having this webinar, and we're really thankful that we are able to have 3 speakers. Sorry, today we have only 2 speakers, but we're really thankful that they could be here with us. So I think I'm going to allow them to now introduce themselves. Amira, maybe you would like to start?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do, from Uganda.
Oh, wonderful. I'm so happy to be with you all. Thank you for the invitation. And thank you to everyone who's made the time to be on this call. I'm just so, I'm just so excited when I learned about your organization and your work about, a vehicle like this for young people to engage. So I'm truly honored to be here. So in terms of an introduction of me, I am from Liberia. I live and work in Washington, D.C. I come from a background in international development, having worked at Oxfam for a number of years as Africa Program Officer. I left the international development community and went to a think tank and worked on U.S. foreign policy, working on issues of peace, climate, and issues of justice at a think tank based in Washington for a number of years. I worked at a tech firm and built a philanthropy at the tech firm, and now I'm working at which is, I will tell you more as I speak, but SHINE is really a community of practice, bringing together foundations and investors, faith organizations to unleash capital for renewable energy at the last mile. So that's a bit of an introduction, but I guess I feel like I'm above all a feminist, an activist, and someone who believes in the power of people and social movements to bring change.
Great, thanks, Amira. Robin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you so much for this opportunity. I grew up in a small country town in New Zealand of 1,000 people and worked on farming, sheep farms, dairy farms, potato farming, and then decided to do my bachelor's and doctorate in power engineering at University of Canterbury. So I came to North America in '73 with my wife, and I just had my 72nd birthday. So I'm just so excited because you are the generation that are just going to bring electricity, education, jobs to everyone, young boy and girl growing up, wherever they are in the world. So thank you so much. for the opportunity to share about IEEE Smart Village and IEEE.
Great. Thank you so much to both of you for joining us. So I think what we'll do now is both Robin and Amira have prepared slides. So we are going to start with Amira. She will talk to us for a few minutes. And after that, Ajaita, our second speaker, could not be here today, but we do have some videos that introduce her and her organization. So then we'll play those videos for a couple of minutes so everyone knows basically what Frontier Market does. And after that, Robin will talk to us about IEEE, and then we'll just open it up and accept questions from whoever is here. So Amira, I just want to inform you that Sajid is going to be sharing your slides. So whenever you want to go to the next slide, just let us know and we will change it.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
So shall I begin? Oh, sorry.
Yes, you can begin. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, somehow it's not, here we go. So I'm just, again, truly grateful for this opportunity to basically share the work that we do, but really the passions of this work with you all as young people interested in this sector. So SHINE is a relatively new formation. It started about 2 years ago with this idea of creating a platform, a community of practice that would bring together investors, impact investors, foundations, also faith organizations and development organizations to generate resources and commitments towards renewable energy for last mile communities around the world. So this presentation is really just to share a bit of how we work, what our issues are, and to give you a sense of really how values-driven investments, whether through grants or through investment funds, are able to actually make a difference. So we can go to the next slide. So we're saying rise to shine. It's a call to action for all of you to rise to shine, to be able to use your energies, creativities, and power wherever you are. In India and Uganda, I was sharing some of the coffee already as we did the introductions, but to be able to use that to unleash the creativity necessary to meet SDG 7 and global challenges. So what are these global challenges? Let's take a look. We have far too many people around the world without the essential services. 2.4 billion lack improved sanitation, 3 billion are open cooking fires. So, you know, going and fetching firewood to be able to actually put food on the table to feed their children. 149 million malnourished children. The statistics are stark, and many of you, because of your involvement in international affairs and in the UN, you know these far too well. Let's go to the next slide. So as you see from this kind of satellite imagery here of the planet, the energy transition is leaving far too many in communities, particularly in Black and Brown communities around the world. They're being left behind. And our call really is to recognize that as the planet is warming, that it is these communities that are facing the most stark risks from climate catastrophe. So it's almost an overlap in terms of those who have been marginalized, historically impoverished, those from whose land often resources may lie, but those who have not benefited from those resources are at the risk of being further left behind. Next slide. The time is short. I'm going to try to go through this a little bit more quickly. So if you look just at sub-Saharan Africa, It's 600 million people without electricity, 70% of the people living on less than $1.90 a day. If the current trends persist, by 2030, 90% of the world's extreme poor will be in need. Next slide. So if we think about where the need is greatest, is that billion people now, many are using a much more updated quantification of 850 million. Wherever that range falls, it is those who are at the hardest to reach places, the last mile communities. They're often rural, 85% are on highly productive land, but they're in rural areas. They are indigenous communities. They're occupying 25% of the land, and those are the communities that are often at the most risk in terms of human rights violation and environmental exploitation. They are the forcibly displaced, either through conflict or through extreme weather conditions and the worsening climate. It is also a growing urban and suburban community, expected to be 2/3 by 2050. Next slide, please. So, you know, when we think about the potential for resourcing clean energy, renewable energy, and what that brings, if we think about solar, whether it is household solar systems, mini grids, microgrid systems, if we think about wind and the potential of wind turbines to actually be able to generate energy for agriculture, if you think what those gains could bring, not only in terms of an individual being able to kind of have light, you know, in their homes and in their workspaces, but what does that mean? It means incomes would increase, that there's a percentage, a very significant percentage of people, 91%, who say they would feel safer with access to energy. It brings health improvements, time to kind of do homework and pay attention in terms of education. The advances are massive. And so I guess within SHINE, our call is to elevate the importance of energy for last mile communities, but really to encourage, both through grants and through investments, greater resources flowing towards clean energy access for last mile communities. I think that's the end of the slides. I remember correctly? Yeah, well, a couple more. So, we just, in these slides, just going through again what we've talked about, the off-grid areas that are far from the grid, and why it's important to pay attention to those hardest to reach places. Next slide, please. And in these coming slides, you can go to the next one as well. We just give you a sense of some of the organizations that are already trying to provide energy access for the hardest to reach. So what we're presenting here is a sense that, you know, the challenges are many, but the possibilities are endless. And they are already scores of individuals like yourselves who are using their innovation, their creativity, their resources to help meet the clean energy challenge for last mile communities. And this is just to give you a sense of some of them in different parts of the world. Next slide, please. Again, just giving you even the pictures to give you a feel for who they are and where they are, providing clean energy for hardest to reach places. Next slide, please. Here is a list again of those who are essentially putting their money where their mouths are, right? These are entities that are clean energy investment funds that are targeting their individual investors and encouraging peer investors to move funds towards clean energy access. Next slide, please. All right, I think that's the last one. Again, it's just to give you a flavor of yes, there are tremendous challenges that we are facing as a human family, but there are very concrete solutions-oriented opportunities, and you see values-driven investors around the world that plate and providing both their grant funds as well as their investment funds towards clean energy access at the last mile. So with that, let me stop, and I look forward to an engaging conversation with you all. Thank you so much for your time and your attention to these issues.
Great, thanks, Amira. I think we'll save all the questions for the end. And I think with this, we can maybe have a look at some of Ajaita's videos from Frontier Markets. That would be a good example.
Sounds good.
Sajid, I think you have to unmute because there's...
By giving them an opportunity to see
I
that
will go into the
this
beginning.
vicious
I'm sorry.
cycle of fear and frustration. Life without power is the most frustrating thing anyone can imagine. People aren't reading, they're not working, they're not sleeping, they're not living. Frontier Markets is a last mile distribution solution for energy products with a focus on solar technology. We partner with farmers and show them the opportunity of becoming a solar retail farm. We started a program focused on what they are earning income by selling products, but also by educating large masses on solar technology solutions. A lot of these women come to me and tell me that my mother-in-law listens to me. My husband now listens to me. The local villager knows my name and actually greets me with respect. We are empowering people by giving them an opportunity to see that this vicious cycle of fear and frustration can go away, and they can finally find a way to embrace light. मेरा नाम है हंसा चौधरी और मैं गांव इसरावाल से राजस्थान में उतरा है। मैं आज फ्रंटियर मार्केट ये सोलर सेलिंग इस सरल जीवन सखी कार्यक्रम का मतलब है कि हर गांव में हर महिला हो चाहे पढ़ी हो चाहे अनपढ़ हो उसको हम साथ लेकर कदम से कदम मिला के सौर ऊर्जा का प्रचार कर अपने गांव को विकसित करेंगे। फ्रंटियर मार्केट के पहले मेरे कैलाश जी के पास में एक टीम आई थी तो हमने बता दिया भाई नुकसान तो चिमनी से तो सांस लेने में तकलीफ होती है, आंखें की रोशनी चली जाती है, अगर बच्चा कहीं पढ़ रहा है कोई पास में लैंप को चिमनी रख के तो हाथ पे ऐसे गिर भी तो सकती थी वो तो आग लग जाती थी। अब
Seems like I lost internet there for a bit. I'll try to relaunch.
और पूरी औरतें उड़ के खुश हो गए हम कि हमारे जीवन में कुछ करने के लिए नहीं तो है कोई भी, तो हम उसको खरीद लिए फिर और मैं भी उसमें जुड़ गई थी। मेरे प्रोडक्ट्स में ऐसी मीटिंगों में ज़्यादातर 10 से 20 औरतें इकट्ठी होती थी। अगर ये रख सके और ये देखो, तो इसको इसमें लेने के लिए 950 रुपये की जरूरत पड़ती है। कहीं अगर अब अंधेरे में चले जाएं, अगर मान लो खेत में जाते हैं, कोई शौचालय में चला जाए, कहीं पर भी मान लो रात को एनी टाइम, तो इसको काम ले सकते हैं। अगर किसी ग्राहक का वो रक्षा खराब हो जाती है तो उसका शूज खराब हो जाता है ना, तो मैं रनर लेती हूँ उसके पास से और आधे घंटे या 1 घंटे के अंदर वापस शाम को रिटर्न कर देती हूँ कि मैं खुश हूँ और मेरी जिंदगी पढ़ाई से जुड़ी हुई है। मेरी पढ़ाई का खर्चा निकाल लेती हूँ और उसमें लोगों को जागरूक करने का मौका मिल रहा है।
Okay, great. So that was from Frontier Markets by Ajayita here. But if anyone wants to know more about it and has questions for her, we can share her details. So you can contact her. So now I guess we move on to Robin.
Okay, I will share my screen, please.
I think I will transfer the, oh yeah. Okay, it works.
And I'll take you to the IEEE Smart Village website. Can everyone see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay, IEEE Smart Village is a major humanitarian program of Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. We are about 400,000 members worldwide, and we have different societies, about 20 societies for anything to do with electricity, whether it's electric power, computers, communications, applications in healthcare. And so through those societies, we have access to, obviously, we drive a lot of the technology and the standards and encourage the people that build all the products that you all use today. In terms of sustainability, we're very proud. We were formed by Thomas Edison with the power side and Alexander Graham Bell on the communication side. So we are sustainable. Many companies can come and go, but I say that the IEEE just keeps on going, and it becomes a family for us throughout our careers. I said that I grew up in New Zealand, and I never dreamed that I'd have a chance to be talking to you all today. So, and I want to point out that our major strength is the rate at which we can share technology and best practices across the world. Even when I was doing my thesis in New Zealand, I would get the papers at the speed of, surface transport. But I would get the best papers in the industry in my field about 8 weeks after everybody else. So I really wasn't left that far behind. But obviously in the villages, they've been precluded totally from any communications, any electricity. But now that we literally are sharing best practices with the villages at the speed of the internet, we can put out an idea at 5 o'clock our time, and in Africa, they will be working on it and getting back to us the next day, okay? So it's a 24/7 operation. And it's not just about engineers. I want to appeal to you, no matter what your background, we need more people that have anthropological backgrounds, communications, journalisms, and fund development. So I'm so excited to be meeting the new partners here today, as well as the outreach to the youth. So really, we've got to get the sustainable electricity, and from that we can get good education, and then we can let them build businesses right there in their communities. So our vision, and you all can make this happen in your generation. Every young boy and girl growing up today will have an opportunity to have a career for whatever they want. You can make that happen, okay? Nobody else can. So it's exciting. So let's see, there was a good, so the background of how do we do this And the other speakers here today, I'm so excited to meet with you and get you involved. So the idea is we've got to get the electricity and the energy there. And we're going through a transition. We're going through that transition where basically we're solving the issue of how to get them power to get clean light, how to get them power so they don't have to walk 10 miles to charge their cell phone. That's happening through some wonderful, low-cost, affordable products. So the next level is we call going beyond the light bulb. How can they get more electricity so that they can get productive use and also reduce the backbreaking labor that the women especially go into now to gathering firewood and collecting water. And then help them create village, businesses in their communities. Reverse the conventional wisdom that you've got to get out of that village and go to the city and get a job to be successful. And so we're seeing exciting things happen right now with technology in the villages to make farming. Okay, so we've got to reduce the backbreaking labor, and then we've got to help them create markets for their products. So, the thing about how are we addressing there were a couple of questions. Well, let me just talk about what our funding model is. And to do that, I'll go to an example of our projects. So one of our projects is in the Ma Trust, and my wife and I visited there last Thanksgiving, and we introduced to them a self-contained educational kit, 3 solar panels, and we also started their IT hub. Those Maasai men have all been trained in brick making. They have a brick making machine. For the first time, they're getting jobs that are not related to taking care of the cattle, and we're really they're producing wonderful buildings at a fraction of the price of bringing it in from Nairobi. So that's just one example. Crystal is the CEO. She studied and did her thesis there. We're looking for internships. We're looking. Mercy Shalanget is there right now, working as an intern. And building a test track for electric vehicles that can survive those conditions. So we're going beyond just getting the electricity to saying we've got to be holistic. We've got to help them get fresh water. In this case, they have rainwater harvesting systems. We've got to, a big roof that just drains it off into a tank. There are 600 women making beautiful beadwork, making $5 a day. That's enough to send their kids to school, the girls to school, instead of a child marriage. It's life transforming. And so what we found is, okay, so what we do is we invite people to submit proposals anywhere in the range from $25K, and we funded some for up to $200,000. And we expect to see a business plan about how they will hope to meet and impact 1 million people over 10 years. Some of our best success stories is Ifeanyi in Nigeria. He has, I think, about 10, 20 kilowatt microgrids running AC. He's raised about $10 million. He started in 2012. With an IEEE president's $5,000 grant, and he's just grown that whole company. Now, what we noticed is that if you want to be in the distribution business alone, you have to be a fundraising machine. You get a long-term, you can make about 7%, on return on investment. But if you combine that, we call it DESCO, Distribution Energy Service Company. If you combine that business with an agricultural business, it can be honey farming, it could be growing moringa, an amazingly healthy product, it be cassava grinding, drip irrigation. We're actually looking at plans right now with about a 3-year payback on your investment. It's incredible. You can actually build your organization with about $100,000 of seed funding to a, $3, $4, $5, $10 million business over 10 years by putting all the earnings you make back into more capital equipment. the reason that we're seeing such high rate of returns is simple. We can get skilled labor at $5 a day, okay? We have amazingly powerful ways of doing vocational training by using videos, knowledge capture, sharing the expertise. Take honey farming, for example. You can actually put a little pack on the back of a bee and track where it goes to get its honey, all right? So that there's a breakthrough. We're seeing innovations with drones where the farmers are saying, wow, based upon that drone technology, I could have seen this type of damage happening to my crops. So the goal is to encourage you all to get involved, to actually go serve in the villages, see what's happening on the ground, make lifelong friends, and then help create those partnerships. And we're now creating the environments in more and more villages where the water is clean, it is very safe, you have internet access and electricity. Because we work bottom up though, we are able to work in places like South Sudan and Cameroon where there still is some violence, but our people on the ground are really, they grew up there, they're existing within those very environments and working to build successful businesses. But what we can do is we can work top down because as IEEE, we have access to the highest levels of government and academia and try and bring those groups together so that more and more of the billions of investment that goes in traditional big power can also go into helping the villages and bring them together. So I think that's, let's see. How can you all be involved? Well, we have a join us page. We are really looking for people that can help for grant application writers. We have a number of secretarial positions open where your goal is to just help schedule the meetings and take the minutes. But I promise you will learn amazing things very fast because we have experts at whether it's marketing, whether it's microgrids, or smart farming, smart cities. We have a very good group of people, and we would love you to help us out. At this point, we're still in a small startup phase. We've been going for about 10 years, but as we network, like we're doing here today, we can really get the very best practices to whatever entrepreneur we have and really learn from each other. One of my heroes, Paul Pollack, says the best way who wrote Out of Poverty, said the best way is to go make friends with the people in the village. And we're doing that, okay? And we learn more. You often go into this thing, well, you're going to give something, but what you get back is just incredible. So, we are now doing outreach with one of our other really heroes is Paras Lumba. He is lighting up villages in the northern parts of Ladakh. Takes people on a 2-week expedition. You take the panels and batteries in by horseback, and then you light up the monasteries that haven't had power for centuries. So hopefully that gives you all a flavor. I really commend you being actively involved with the United Nations and representing our case there. And I'm excited to just network with the whole group and really combine all our wonderful talents that we have. But the bottom line is we have to create successful businesses. When we provide a grant, we don't expect it to be paid back, but we respect the recipient to treat that as money where they need to build a sustainable business going forward. And now with remote monitoring, we can really track what's happening with all the devices out in the field. Let's see. I think that covers the main issues. How can the youth be part of the process and discussion? Well, yeah, this is just opening the door. I look forward to your comments and working closely with a number of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robin, and also thank you both speakers for their insights and sort of a in-depth view of what they do and how it affects the communities, and how also link it back how it is important for the young practitioners here, as well as in fluency. So from this point, we will take a segue towards the question and answer session. But before going into the question and answer session, I wanted to highlight that this is probably the first of a series of webinars that will be happening, sort of highlighting the subtopics that were considered during the SEforAll Charrettes. And especially we envision that this would be useful in building capacity of young practitioners going into the next year's Sustainable Energy for All Forum, which will be held in Kigali, Rwanda. So at the moment, we are in the process of organizing the youth participation, the participation of young practitioners, young scientists, and advocates in the Sustainable Energy for All Forum next year. And we are also envisioning probably a pre-forum event prior to the main conference. So we believe that this will be, in addition to that, be a capacity building exercise for young people and a knowledge gathering, and they can start engaging from now onwards towards the forum and beyond as well in the discussion of SDG 7. So with that, we will go into the question and answer session. So I wanted to highlight how this would go. So if you have a question, you can indicate it by a Q or a X in the chat. So then we can give you the space to ask you a question from the speakers. And you can direct it to any speaker, or you can direct your question to both speakers at once. So now I will open the floor for you to ask questions. So please indicate in the chat. Please feel free to ask any questions you have, because we have adequate amount of time. So I will open the floor now for questions.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Andrew from Uganda.
Please ask your question.
Yeah, I'm very interested in what we're discussing. I especially with the lighting and education in Uganda, in the rural and remotest areas. I'm wondering how we can begin to work together or network to give an opportunity for children to have lighting in the remotest area and study at night.
Did we get his question clearly?
So I heard the first bit of it, but not the second. I don't know if Andrew, you could repeat your question, please?
Yeah, I was saying, this is Andrew Uruku from Youth and Women for Opportunities, Uganda. I'm very interested in the programs that you discussed, the very amazing and awesome projects. I'm wondering how us in Uganda can get involved in providing grid electricity or lighting for children in areas that do not have light, so that they can continue to study in the night. How can I begin to engage in such a process? Thank you.
From the Smart Village viewpoint, we have a partner there called African Development Promise. They're based out of Kampala. They have been building solar kiosks where people can go and get a solar lantern. They can buy that. And then they've also been putting in complementary businesses for teach them how to do sewing, IT skills, mushroom farming. And now we're also looking for, we have a very exciting program to provide honey farming on Mount Elgon. And we have a very ambitious plan to put in about a dozen honey processing plants. And through that, obviously, we will generate the income where you can be providing the lighting and the education. So we encourage you, please send me an email and I will get you in contact with with our partners there. But that honey farming processing, it literally, you can make enough money with one hive, which costs $50. In your second year, you can make $500 of money from the honey and the wax. So that's just one example where I say, look beyond just the electricity. Look at the businesses that you can actually create. Yes, please don't just be hung up on getting light and cell phone charging. Look at where you can go beyond that, okay? And make sure that you're getting jobs for those children, well, for the youth and the women as you get them the education. And so I'm very excited about that. There's tremendous opportunity. And like I say, the financial return on the investment is incredible. What you can do with $100,000 of investment, both into the electricity, but beyond that, it's looking at the value-added products, the tourism that goes along with that. You know, think about taking people to see the wonderful gorillas. Think about branding. How do you get top dollar for your product? Honey can sell for $1 a kilogram, all the way up to $50 a kilogram. So I'm so glad that we've got other people that are doing amazing jobs of branding and marketing here. This is going to be great. So I'd love to hear from you, and I'll get you engaged.
So just before you go, I don't know whether you've seen my email. I don't know how we can transmit my email in this forum, but my email I had sent and shared it with the group.
Okay.
It's youth and women at gmail.com. I don't know if you have seen it. Maybe.
Well, Sajid, will you be sending out the entire list of all the email contacts so that we can follow up, please? Yeah.
Yes, we will, after the session, we will send out all the contacts, and we will share the speakers' contacts with the audience as well.
Thank you. I'll get back to you then.
You're welcome.
Pleasure.
And Amira, do you have a response as well? Amira, can you hear us?
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute. I was speaking at length. Sorry. So yes, I was saying that there are quite a number of organizations that are in East Africa and in Uganda. I think one of them, I think they're in Uganda, is called Solar Sister, which is working to support African women, in particularly in Africa, to create sustainable businesses around solar technology. So that is one that I would recommend. There are others as well, but yeah, it's quite an exhaustive list. But I would recommend programs like theirs, which is looking at, as Andrew was also saying, like looking at these productive uses, like how is the electricity comes to an end, and the end is generating income, creating jobs, creating a space where a healthy community and healthy societies can be supported.
So Andrew, I think you're a great example, and Amira and I can both work together. Amira can help. We can help you write a business plan, okay? And Amira, thank you so much for being here, because it's coaching them all to be entrepreneurs is the key.
Thank you a million. That will be so useful.
Our goal is to let you take your dreams and put them into reality, okay? And give you a whole family to do it, all right? I think you have it, my friend.
Thank you.
So I also put in the chat, I know we're going to go on to other questions, but I want to just call to everyone's attention. I put in the chat also a link to a conference that we at Shine are co-sponsoring and co-hosting in Cape Town, South Africa. It's the Global Summit on Divest Invest, really focusing on creating a platform for the universities, cities, organizations, as well as pension funds that have divested from fossil fuels, and also focusing in on the investment side, how to generate both grant and philanthropic as well as investment funds for renewable energy at the last mile. So the conference is September 9th and 10th in Cape Town, and yeah, we would welcome You know, we welcome participation from your community. There are ways that people can be present in Cape Town, and those who are not able to be in Cape Town can also join via live stream.
Right. Thank you very much for those insightful inputs. And I will go to the next question. I think it's from Ebo. Can you hear us? Ebo, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good morning, everybody. I was very late. Just come back to school. So I need to ask a question. So which really education you need to give in community in the Africa, in our community, local and rural? Which action you need to do very important to society on a sustainable and development goal? And my second question is what? What is the really job you need to create for many people who don't have a helpless? That is my second question. Thank you, everybody.
I missed the second question. Please repeat that.
And I missed it first. If you could please repeat both.
Yeah.
Again?
Yes, please. It was hard to hear.
Yeah. Okay. I said. What is a really job you need to do, or for example, which job you want to create for our youth in Africa country? Because you have many people, you have many youth in this moment in the young who don't have a helpless. So, but you have a good man, you have a good intelligence, you have a good experience to do something. But he was very active. So, which advocacy, which help you need to give them to society in the life? That is my question.
You know, I have seen and believe in the power, especially the power of entrepreneurs to be creative. So I feel like, you know, it's I don't think for me to say what type of businesses should.
What you will do? What you will do? What you will do to create the job for our young? That is the question I'm asked.
What we do is, the point is that these ideas have to come from the community because they know what works. But what we do is we listen deeply and we share the best practices. So let me give you some examples. Okay. For my trust.
Okay. I'm hear you. Yeah, I'm here.
They brought a $20,000 brick making machine, and now they're creating a My Youth construction business. So from the bricks, they teach them how to make the bricks, and they're building beautiful homes, beautiful businesses, and so there's a plan for that, to grow that to a multi-million-dollar business over 10 years. And it's hard work, but everyone is very motivated to do it. So that is one, because you're literally making homes out of the raw earth, you know, and a little bit of cement. The honey farming obviously is a very high return. You want to get both the woman and the man involved. Moringa, growing moringa. I mean, it is so healthy, all right, and it's has a tremendous impact on the children. And so you have to, the tourism, the ecotourism. So the idea is you need someone that literally will live in the village, see what's happening, and in a lot of cases, there's a lot of money there already. I mean, you get, you know, $50 for a sheep, $300 for a cow, and so the wealth is often in the communities. And so what we're saying now is be there, look and listen. One entrepreneur is delivering fresh fruits and vegetables in Cameroon because often they're rotting on the ground. So just being able to either dry those vegetables and fruits, chill the milk. So I'm saying is that look beyond just the electricity, come up with an idea, talk to the people, and then we can show you the format to write a proposal and help go raise the money for that. okay? So again, you have the talent. In general, here's what's happening. The people living on the farms get minimal wages. There's always a middleman taking the raw product and really marking it up. But we want to break that cycle to work where you actually can market directly to the end users through cooperatives and we also support businesses. So again, it's every village has some unique attributes, both in terms, and the other thing was saying, look, preserve all the wonderful cultures, the songs, the dances, the languages, get them little tablets so that they can learn. Ubongo for Kids has amazing interactive, devices to teach counting, numeracy. And so we're seeing a lot of technology right now where it's all there and it's interactive and the kids can literally learn while they're being a shepherd in addition to while they're going to school. And so please stay in contact, send us where you grew up, what your dream is, and then we can link you up with other potential partners. It's hard work, it's risky, okay? But you at least have a family right now to support you.
So I guess I have a bit of a different tact on that. I really believe that as human beings we have to pursue our passions and we have to understand the gifts and talents that we have. I think the creativity is all over the world and all over the continent. I was in a small town, Mushi, outside of Arusha in Tanzania, and met this brilliant young kid who started when he was 15 years old, trying to figure out what to do with plastic bags, and he ended up creating this tool that would transform plastic bags into bricks. His family thought, what is he doing, collecting trash all over the place, and what is he? But in the end, he was able to bring a vision that he had to life. So I guess, and we have other examples of that. There's a young he's older now, but this movie I hope you all have seen. It's called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Tells a story about a young Malawian in a very rural area who figured out how to build wind turbine to propel the agricultural production on his family's farm in the midst of a drought. There is enormous creativity. All of you have already expressed a passion around issues of climate change and being able to make a difference in the world. So I guess my call to you is to don't look to others, right? Look to yourselves. Understand the strength that you have within, the strength that you have within your communities, and unleash that. Find ways to unleash that. Yes, it's possible to find partners to help, bring in financing if that may be needed. But understand the power of what you have and focus on how to reach your fullest potential. To be able to be as impactful as you can, from your families to your communities to the world.
I totally endorse that, Amira. I didn't want to be, I was very specific, but you're exactly right. Everything I'm talking about actually came from villages themselves, and our goal is to give the framework for them to share that and support each other. So thank you. No, we really are, I totally agree with everything you said. There's amazing creativity there of things that we do.
Right. Thank you.
Facebook's, Google's, Microsoft's, you come out of Africa and India. All the talent is there because you all have unique problems. Okay, we just can't force fit westernized solutions. It's.
All right, I think with that, we'll go for another question. Regina, are you there? Can you ask your question or type it in the chat? Okay. So I'll read out the question from Regina. So she said, I am really encouraged with your presentation, Robin. I am an undergraduate student of Agriculture Science of Nepal. I am passionate to provide innovative facilities in rural communities to increase their production and empower them. So I think it's more of a comment. Regina, do you have a question? I suppose she wanted to sort of indicate a comment there.
I just want to make one point, is that you are all the experts, okay? And so our goal is to just provide some of the tools and the framework for you to do the amazing things that you want to do in the villages. And it's a very courageous step, okay? To give, you're all very talented. You could all get a very comfortable job, okay, working in the city or for the government. To actually, we want to be there to help you. Your friends, your parents are probably telling you you're crazy, okay? We want to help you make that step, all right? So Emma and I, we're honored, okay, that we have a chance to kind of listen to your plans and kind of help you grow that business. So thank you so much for the feedback. And Amira, you have tremendous, your presentation was wonderful. I want to follow up with you, okay? Because it's all about the fundraising and building the confidence of people to invest in.
We'll make a great team. Thank you all.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Sajid, for bringing us together, okay?
Do anyone has any more questions that you want to ask before we conclude? Karishma, do you have questions as well?
No, I'm good.
All right. I think we have another question from Boye. I'll give the floor to you to ask the question.
Hello to you all. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, my name is Ibu Boy. I'm a Gambian currently studying in Ghana. I'm a student member of IEEE and a member of different working groups. As I mentioned in the chat group, I'm a member of the Power and Energy Society and also a member of Power and Electronic Society. But back home in the Gambia, I officially work as a regulator, Gambia Public Utilities Regulatory Authority. And being the electricity and the renewable energy officer at Gambia Public Utility Regulatory Electricity, we have a project with Jeff Unido. The essence of the project is to encourage youth and women entrepreneurs using renewable energy, which is a grant. And we have been doing phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So how can we partner with Mr. Robin for IEEE so that the most vulnerable community can be reached to benefit in such kind of initiative as a partnership with Jeff Unido or another project so that we can help rural communities because they are doing amazing things.
Yeah, please, Ahima, please write to me. We want to work with the utilities and the West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, Central Africa power pools. So you are what I talk about, someone at the highest level of industry, and we are there to help you get the word out, okay?
Yeah. Can we have your email so that we can write to you? Thank you.
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
Okay. I think that we can go ahead towards the conclusion of the session today. So as I mentioned, we will share all the contacts of the speakers with the audience, as well as audience contacts with speakers as well. And I want to again highlight sort of this conversation will continue. And also we will be having more similar sessions on different aspects of energy transition that needs to take place especially in the developing world. So we'll share more information as we go. with the audience as well as the speakers as well. Especially since we will ask the constituency, we will be engaging in different events that are coming up, including the climate change conference in December. So we will share all these information and as well as the contacts as we go. And I want to then hand over to Karishma to conclude the session and thank our speakers today.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Robin and Amira for making it today and for giving us these really inspiring presentations, and yeah, also for all your responses to all the questions. I think it's very encouraging for us to hear this, and I think it's a good reminder of sort of work that some of us are doing, and then the sort of work that you're doing, and it really yeah, like I said, it's really inspiring. So yeah, I guess thank you everyone for being here, and we will do the follow-ups right after we're done.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you all today. I feel like I'm the one inspired by all of you and the commitments that you have made to really building a better world. I guess it's only to say keep going. Keep going and know that you have allies that will be on this journey with you. Yeah, and if anyone is interested in the financing the future September 10th and 11th, please do reach out and let us know.
Yeah, I want to endorse Samira. Every one of you on this call, I know, has a great heart and you want to make a change, okay? So we're here to serve you, all right? You are the youth that are that really are going to make this amazing change in the world. So thank you so much for your commitment and interest.
In closing, thank you everyone, and I just put the contact sheet again. Please open the Google Sheet and put your contacts so we can make sure that the contacts are shared. And since we have a recording of the session as well, we will go back and get the contacts and share with you. So thank you everyone. Have a nice day ahead, and we hope to see you all soon. Bye bye.
Bye, and how kindly write to us. Yeah. This is the deal, and it's money. This is the deal.